Hello, and thank you to those of you who have joined our webinar so far today. We're going to give our registered participants just one more moment to log into the webinar, and then we will go ahead and get started. Thank you so much. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for Creatio's webinar. Today, we will be discussing Creatio's ideas about why low-code technology is the next big thing for professional services organizations. And I'm joined by one of my colleagues today for this discussion. My name is Creatio, and I look forward to joining this colleague as we walk through the discussion and we answer some of your questions at the end of the session. Again, we hope to make this very interactive and answer those questions at the end of the session, so we invite you to post these questions in the Q&A section of the webinar. And then followed by the discussion today, we'll answer any unanswered questions, and we will provide you with a recording of this webinar. So as I mentioned, my name is Creatio, and I'm a Marketing Communications Manager at Creatio, and I will be hosting the webinar today. And I'm joined by my colleague, Scott Letty, and Scott is an enterprise account executive. Scott has a great background, so I'd love for him to just hop on quickly and introduce himself and tell you a bit about himself. So Scott?
Hey everybody, happy Monday. As Craig mentioned, my name is Scott Letty. I'm an enterprise account executive here at Creatio. I have about 10 years of experience, both on the consulting side of professional services and then on the vendor side. So hopefully I'll be able to bring some unique insights to this topic. And I look forward to spending the next 45, 50 minutes with you guys.
Excellent, thanks so much, Scott. So on our agenda today, we'll be talking a bit about Creatio, and we just had the opportunity of introducing our speaker, Scott Letty. We'll talk about what low code is, followed by a discussion of global low code development, giving you a market overview. Then we'll talk about Creatio's low code platform for CRM and business process management. Then we'll talk about the use cases of low code technology in professional services organizations, followed by our customer success stories. Then we'll have our Q&A section, and we really, we encourage you to post all of your questions. We hope to reach all of these questions today online while we have our speakers available, but if we do not get to these questions, we will follow up shortly after. So, while this will be a background for many of you, Creatio is a globally diverse organization with 5 offices worldwide. We have over 650 employees and a robust channel network of over 700 partners, which is consistent of consultants and system integrators. We deliver our solution in 110 countries around the world, and we're highly recognized by key industry analysts, such as analysts from Gartner and Forrester. And I look forward to telling you a bit more about that analyst recognition as we move forward here. Creatio is recognized in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants, and we are a leader in 2 of these Magic Quadrants. We're a leader in the Magic Quadrant for Salesforce automation and a leader in the Magic Quadrant for CRM lead management. We are acknowledged in several Magic Quadrants that speak to our low code and process management capabilities. We look forward to growing this recognition with Gartner. We're also recognized in 7 Forrester Waves, and this is just a really tremendous accomplishment that we want to highlight here because it's great to be included in 1 Forrester Wave, let alone 7, as a strong performer. 2 of which speak to our low code and process management capabilities, and 5 of which speak to our CRM and SFA capabilities. We look forward to growing this recognition with Forrester even further and growing our user recognition worldwide. Now I'm going to hand off to Scott Letty.
Thank you, Craig. So for starters, we are going to talk about what exactly low code is. So low code is very self-explanatory. It is a custom-built application, a custom-built workflow that was architected, that was created with either very, very minimal coding language in the backbone of it, or no coding language at all, simply built on the process of the platform. One of the main drivers behind the shift that we've seen on a technological landscape standpoint to a low-code, no-code development platform is the problem, I guess, presented that you guys see on this graph right here, where there's a business demand that far outpaces a company's IT capacity. So as you can see, the business demand is there. Technologically, companies need to be more robust, more agile, more modernized. The issue is that the IT capacity simply isn't there to meet all of those internal demands. So the demand is there to offer new products and enter new channels for hyper personalized digital experiences, to be nimble, embrace innovation, minimize security risks, keep control of not only internal sensitive data, but of customers' sensitive data, and build these apps and processes to make rapid changes to processes, and then also make changes to existing processes. So the problem that we see with our customer base is that with IT, often they're forced to take a very, very bare minimum approach simply due to bandwidth and capacity. There are high maintenance costs. Legacy systems, when they are in a coded environment and become extremely customized, you get into what we call version lock, where it is simply too expensive to re-implement all of those customizations into a upgraded core platform. And so companies are forced to balance the risk of, hey, we are going to either stay with old technology that doesn't work exactly how we need it to, or we're going to have to pay basically the same amount that we paid to implement the software in the first place to re-implement the software and re-implement all of the customizations that we already paid for. With a complex business needs and growing list of business needs comes a more complex IT landscape and business systems, and there's simply a talent gap as well, where there are not enough qualified coders and programmers and architects in a given tech stack to meet the business demand. So as I mentioned, low-code technology is a technology that requires little to no coding in order to use. So it's a platform. It is not a simple point solution. Some of the low-code features of the Creatio system include visual modeling tools, reusability, the ability to take processes, to take applications, port them into other business units, and modify them again to meet a more specific business need. Drag and drop interfaces, which are very user-friendly, non-technically inclined people, non-digital natives are still able to build processes, build workflows very, very easily with a low-code platform. Reporting and monitoring throughout. A lot of the functionality that customers will need will come out of the box. There is cross-platform accessibility and collaboration tools. The security and scalability is there. Again, it is a platform, so although companies, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, buy a tool like Creatio to fix 5 to 10 to 15 specific application issues, often the adoption grows because everyone is using one tech stack, one centralized database and warehouse of information, and one tool. You can often get cross enterprise adoption very, very easily. And another feature is the application lifecycle management. So when we talk about who exactly is building these workflows, building these applications, building these products, internal products, external products, we talk about citizen developers. So the difference that we're looking at here is the difference between a citizen developer versus a pro developer. A citizen developer is a non-professional, so someone who is not coming from a technological background or a technological coding programming experience. But because of the low-code, no-code technology, they are able to develop applications. So they're not full-time developers. They are using low-code, no-code tools to build applications that are either for themselves, for their specific role and responsibility, or for their business group, or for maybe several business groups. They're not, when we talk about low-code, no-code, some people get a little bit confused. Low-code, no-code, and system developers are not a full cloth replacement for IT departments. What we want to do and what a low-code platform should do is free up the pro developers, free up the IT department to work on the strategic enterprise-wide applications and save the tier 2, tier 3 applications, things that are not as mission critical, and hand those off to the system developers, allowing the IT folks to work on the things that they're really, really best suited for. So citizen developers eliminate a lot of the, like I said, a lot of the user IT, the non-essential, non-critical, non-enterprise-wide, non-strategic IT platforms. So what drives user IT is those increasing number of third-party applications, point solutions. I have a specific need, I can buy a specific tool to fix that. Again, as companies become more technologically enabled, as the business landscape requires more technological capabilities, there's a need for an increasing number of those third-party apps. It makes technology stacks very, very messy, very, very convoluted, very, very difficult to maintain, very, very difficult to upgrade. There's a lack of centralization, there's data silos. So there's data stored in disparate systems in several different places throughout the organization, which makes it very difficult to get to one single point of truth, which makes it very, very difficult for management to understand, really get to take stock of their business and understand how to drive their decisions moving forward. So the impact of that is in the revenue stream, and then in their OpEx, and then in their total cost of ownership. So citizens developers design their own apps using a single platform, and they don't have to turn to IT for every single need that they have. They don't need to employ a handful of potentially risky third-party applications, and they don't need to share any of their internal sensitive data or their customer sensitive data with those third parties. What can low-code automate? To put it simply, pretty much anything. We're going to talk about some of the basic use cases that we see, some of the kind of ground floor use cases that we see. And those are in project management, task and time management, human capital management, collaboration, request management, change management, document management, inventory, knowledge bases. And again, those are going to be able to be applied to different use cases across various business units: marketing, sales, human capital, admin, operations, internal service, IT, R&D, procurement, and finance and legal. Again, from a professional services standpoint, we see a lot of use cases in the finance and the legal sector as well. And throughout all of those, with Creatio, you're able to input workflows, business logic, create custom user interfaces, build out integration points, and apply artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to those workflows.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Scott. So as mentioned earlier, we're trying to make this an interactive discussion today. So we'd like to engage the audience in a poll here. And the question that we want to ask you is, what are the challenges your organization faces with custom application development? And while we give you just a moment here to answer this question, Scott, I think we should take a seated question from the audience. Our first question is, what are some of the big...
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So what are some of the big multinational corporations using low-code technologies? And what are the main reasons or considerations for the move from their legacy systems?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. There are innumerable multinational corporations, names that you would recognize, who are currently employing low-code platforms: Sprint, ConocoPhillips, Credit Suisse, TPG, Takeda Pharmaceuticals. I mean, across a multitude of verticals, across a multitude of nationalities, across a multitude of business cases. Some of them are using low-code tools specifically for one or two business units, one or two use cases. Some of them are employing them enterprise-wide. It really depends on the use case. I believe the second part of that question was, what are some of the things that companies need to be cognizant of? What are some of the reasons that they'd be switching from their legacy systems? We talked a little bit about that before, one of which is the ability to have a flexible solution that can be upgraded and reconfigured and sophisticated to meet the needs of a changing business landscape, which legacy systems are much clunkier. There's a lot more inertia in the ability to upgrade them, to update them, to meet changing business needs with the agility. One of the things to be cognizant of, and one of the reasons that a lot of companies do not see enterprise-wide adoption of low-code development platforms, is if you look at a third-party solution and you say, okay, I could replace this with a low-code platform, but you realize that it would take me, let's say, 70 processes to replicate the functionality that I'm getting out of this third-party point solution, and I'm paying for every single process, the ROI is not really very strong to warrant the changing of a system that's already bought, already in use, already implemented. So a lot of the low-code platforms out there actually do charge by the use case, by the workflow, by the application, and so when you scale that, it starts to become less of a cost reduction tool. One of the nice things about Creatio is that we do offer our platform with an unlimited amount of use cases, so you don't pay by the workflow. You can build, you can build 10 workflows with it, you can build 1 million workflows with it, you're still just paying the license costs. So that's one of the other things to think about when you're really doing your analysis for the TCO of a low-code platform.
Great, thank you so much, Scott. Let's take a look at these results. So lack of qualified staff seems to be the greatest challenge that's voiced here. Well, we'll discuss each of these challenges today, but agree that this is a very important one for users to address. So let's move forward with our discussion.
There we go. So as you see, there's some similarities between our poll and this poll that was done by Forrester. In this poll, high cost was the #1, offender of the challenge of building custom applications using traditional coding. And that comes down to kind of a similar root cause that we got in our poll, which is that not only is there a lack of qualified IT staff, but that makes them in demand. And so again, you're competing with other companies in the marketplace for these very, very specifically skilled people, which drives their asking price up in terms of salary, in terms of benefits, in terms of perks, things like that. I think we also saw too slow as having a pretty significant portion of our respondents. And that is another problem with custom application, is that the pipeline becomes very, very convoluted when you go from here's the person with the use case and the change request, passed to a project manager, passed to an architect, passed downstream to their developers, passed back upstream to a architect who needs to approve it, passed to QA, which could all have been done in a third of the time, half the time, by a citizen developer building with a low-code platform. And again, lack of flexibility, another one. Difficult to meet business requirements in the budget, poor quality. Lack of qualified staff is actually pretty far down on this list, which is interesting given our findings. But again, it just shows you how doesn't matter where they come from, there's a multitude of different issues that companies face with traditional coding, with building custom applications that are all solved. All of these, if the sites don't know, are solved by a low-code platform. So the question is, Forrester finds, has low-code development platforms addressed these issues? 66%, 2/3, see a modest improvement. That is not necessarily an indictment of low-code platforms as a whole, but more of an indictment of or not an indictment, but more of a product of the newness of the low-code landscape as a adopted technology. So again, as we talked about, low-code is fairly new when we talk about the entirety of the technological landscape, of tech stacks, of solutions that are provided to businesses. So companies are still kind of getting their feet wet in the low-code landscape. As I mentioned, a lot of these large companies have low-code platforms, but only are really used in one or two departments, one or two work groups, one or two use cases. That should grow. So if we did this poll in 5 years, given where analysts see this trending, it would probably be flipped, where 66% see significant improvement, maybe 26 see modest improvement. So now that we know what low code is and what low code can do, we'll talk a little bit about the market overview globally in terms of low code development. So as we mentioned, it is still an emerging technology. It is still at the forefront, and it is not fully adopted yet by all companies worldwide. We do see that changing. North America is the largest market in terms of usage, and APAC, actually, surprisingly, is the fastest growing market by region. But as you see, everything's orange. Low code has permeated every continent. However, the variability depends on kind of where businesses, where verticals, where governments even are in terms of their adoption of low-code technology. So Wall Street Journal thinks that low-code platforms, their usage, their market share will grow 70% by the year 2025. And again, that's going to be internally within companies who already have low-code applications, growing them organically within their company, and more companies purchasing and bringing in low-code technology to solve their various business needs. As you can see, Ford's says it's an opportunity to move fast and be nimble. We talk about digital transformation, and a low-code platform like Creatio is really what can help accelerate companies' digital transformation efforts and help bring them into the 21st century at a much faster rate than they could with a traditional coded environment. Forrester expects $21 billion to be allocated to low-code spending by 2022. And again, Gartner saying low-code application platforms will be responsible for more than 65% of all app development. So that is the entirety of custom application development, custom workflow development will be done with low-code by 2024.
Great, thank you so much, Scott, for this overview. And now we're going to talk a bit about Creatio's low-code platform for CRM and business process management. So here we have an overview of Creatio's product architecture, just a visual here. Creatio's low-code studio offering is built in the foundation of our full-fledged, all-encompassing CRM suite you'll see built on top here, which is the sales, service, and marketing products. And this is really what drives and what differentiates our platform, again, giving our users the ability to customize applications for process management and the unified CRM suite. Our low-code tool studio, enables users to build full-fledged applications for the CRM, for sales, service, and marketing functions. And additionally, we have Creatio Marketplace, which is an online forum of our large community of partners that share over 600 add-ons, connectors, and templates used by Creatio customers for specific needs and specific use cases. And when we talk specifically about Creatio's low-code capabilities, we want to emphasize that our platform facilitates automation for all tasks, ranging in complexity, across use cases, and that our customers spread across the globe and across many different industries, and truly speaks to the flexibility and the versatility of our low-code platform. So if we quickly just emphasize Creatio's vision, we believe that Creatio has created this world where everyone can automate business ideas in minutes. In order to accomplish this, we have our core differentiators, which are otherwise referred to now as our Creatio superpowers. And we highlight these here for you as our business process management engine to change processes faster, our low-code platform to make everyone a developer, and our unified CRM to align sales, service, and marketing, as shown before in our product architecture diagram. So again, our best-in-class unified CRM platform, Creatio offers this unified CRM to help marketing, sales, and service teams gain a complete client data overview. We have a powerful business process management engine, which is foundation and a powerful BPM engine that helps organizations automate both customer-facing and operational processes. And our full-fledged low-code platform. And again, this is the foundation of our offering. It's it's built in. It's a low-code platform that enables everyone to be a developer. So I'm going to hand it back to my colleague Scott Letty as he discusses some of the use cases of low code.
Thank you, Craig. So we're going to talk about the business impact of low code platforms. We know what it is, we know what it can do, but at the end of the day, it needs to have some kind of business impact. Otherwise, it's not going to move the needle for professional services organizations. So what we're talking about when we talk about low code is a tool that offers a low cost, fast, flexible way to address application development and process automation needs. And we see that a lot, specifically in professional services organizations, whether they are providing those services to other corporations, whether they're providing those services to individuals. So 5 major pillars that are going to provide value for a professional services organization are operational agility, enhanced customer experience, faster digital transformation, higher productivity, and at the end of the day, decreased costs. I mean, it is a numbers game when you really boil things down. So we'll dig into those 5 core pillars in just a second here. So we talk about operational agility, and as we've seen in the past 4 months or so, the business landscape can change very, very quickly due to unforeseen circumstances. And those companies that are able to adapt to the changing landscape are going to be the ones who thrive, and the ones who are too slow to adapt, too unwilling to adapt, or simply unable to adapt are not going to survive. They're going to be the ones who get left by the wayside. So having a low code platform enhances operational agility. It allows you to, again, find those new revenue streams, increase efficiency in revenue streams that are already still surviving, providing more satisfied clients, more satisfied employees, and faster time to market. So as business ideas are generated internally, the ability to quickly make those actionable, bring those into production, and start seeing value from them is increased with a low code platform. Enhanced customer experience. So as we've seen over the past 10 years or so, Amazon is kind of what we all think of when we think of customer experience. They've set the bar very, very high for what a consumer, what a customer, whether that's a partner, whether that's a company, whether that's a single person, whether that's a household, expects out of their kind of vendors, out of their purchasing decisions. So with help of a low-code platform, professional services organizations can really build a hyper-personalized experience for their customers. They can boost customer engagement, provide better quality of a customer experience, and even create some new revenue streams as they start to look at households, as they start to look at customers, individuals, purchasing decisions, using those AI and machine learning tools, things of that nature, to create a more profitable, a more long-lasting customer relationship. Digital transformation, we've talked about this a little bit before. This is a huge hot button issue, especially now, again, because of the COVID factor, really throwing a wrench in the works of a lot of companies' long-term planning, requiring a faster move to digital transformation. And a low-code tool facilitates a much faster and more effective digital transformation because of its centralized storehouse, because it's not creating a really wide, convoluted tech stack, and because citizen developers are now able to pick up the slack and start adding to the digital transformation efforts instead of everything falling on the shoulders of an already overburdened IT department. So again, it's no secret, the coronavirus accelerant requires a faster move to digital transformation. Again, I mentioned companies that are able to nimbly meet the needs of a changing environment and push forward in the quote unquote new normal are going to be the ones that are thriving and surviving. The companies that are unwilling or unable to meet those needs are going to have a rocky road ahead of them, whether we're in the thick of the pandemic or whether we're on the other side of things, trying to adapt to a new way of doing business. There's going to be a lot of companies, the gap between those who are able to thrive and those who aren't is going to be widened significantly as we kind of move into this new way of doing business, this new way of living our lives. Again, restructured workplaces, redefined roles, the idea of rapid learning and rapid adoption and reserves of trust. So organizations, it's a challenge for them. And again, it provides a lot of opportunity for a lot of companies to rebuild their organization in a leaner way, in a more flexible way, in a more adaptive way. But again, there's the risk and the pitfall of not being able to meet those challenges and not being able to adapt to a new way of doing business, of a new way of working, and facing some serious repercussions because of that. Higher productivity. Again, instead of customizing existing applications, you can build them from scratch. So instead of taking a tool that maybe isn't suited for your exact use case and trying to reconfigure it, reinvent it to meet your use case, you can build exactly what you need tailor-made from the ground up. The other thing that I talk about when I talk about low code is that it does create a cultural shift internally within an organization. Employees feel empowered. I've been, from my own specific life, I've faced the frustration of having a very, very good idea of how my work group, how my own role can be more efficient with a little more technological enablement, and having IT basically say, hey, this is not a priority for us. Hey, we wish we had people we could throw at this issue and build this for you, but we simply can't. And at some point, I just gave up and said, what's the point of me trying to make my role better, make my role more efficient, make my role more profitable? Every time I come up with an idea, it gets shot down, or it gets lost in IT pipeline, or it gathers dust on a shelf somewhere. So when people come into their job and say, hey, the power is in my hands to make my job better, to build something that can be shared and utilized by my coworkers and become kind of a enterprise-wide application, even if it takes off. It puts people in that mindset of coming in and being innovative. They start to look at their job a different way, and instead of just doing what's the way it's always been done, they start to look at it as, hey, I'm empowered to be kind of a leader. I'm empowered to add to my company's digital transformation. So it's something that's hard to quantify, but it does create a kind of sea change internally in terms of a corporate climate. And again, we talked about it at the end of the day. Decrease costs, having a lower total cost of ownership for IT tools, not having to spend money on consultants, outside vendors, internal IT staff in order to meet the needs of this rapidly changing world and rapidly changing business landscape. So again, you empower people to build custom apps and processes. And it also comes down to a recruiting effort, right? So when you hire somebody, you're hiring them to bring expertise outside of your corporation, and when they come in and say, well, I'm not enabled to do things the way that I want to, that I know how, because I'm limited by the technology stack that we have, again, you're not able to utilize your human capital to the best of their ability. When you give people a low-code platform, it's a draw, because they can come in and say, okay, great, I can use my expertise, my knowledge, my background to build out a new way of doing business for this company, as opposed to having to fit my skill set to the company's technological capabilities. So we'll talk about some of case studies. Again, this is a very representative sample. Hopefully it's a very diverse sample, showing off some of the ways that some of our customers, ranging from SMBs to enterprise to multinational, have utilized Creatio to solve some very, very unique and very, very specific business problems. So the first is CROC. It is not the shoe company. It is a software company with an expertise in integrated platforms for interagency interaction, development of software and hardware solutions. So it's a very, very diverse company, very, very wide range of projects. Again, as you see, they complete over 2,000 IT projects annually in over 40 countries. So they needed to increase sales and revenue while streamlining their sales operations. And so they utilized Creatio not only for Studio, the business process platform, but also for CRM. And again, the CRM, as Corey mentioned, is also all built on that low-code platform. So all of their CRM all their CRM processes can be reconfigured, can be built out, can be extended, utilizing a low-code platform with citizen developers. So again, they were able to execute business process change much more quickly, automate their sales process for their long sales cycles, and again, they also used our CRM solution to build out a full field sales operation. So they built a custom digital workplace. They had data enrichment, customized stakeholder management systems, so their management teams were able to get a better sense of, where their time and effort should be spent as a corporation and how to steer their company and their company's evolution. And then again, they used pre-configured guided sales workflows to help speed up that kind of time of getting onboarded for new salespeople, and again, decrease those long sales cycle. And again, they used a mobile app to help their field sales reps and again, get better visibility nationwide for their management. AUTOMATRIX is a dealer software provider that offers a management system for independent, like used car dealerships, to operate business more effectively. So again, they've got 16 solution models with one platform, very, very similar to an offering that Creatio has. But again, they needed to make sure that they were providing best service for their customers. That's the way that they were going to grow their business. They had very, very aggressive sales goals, and they weren't able to spend the time on customization and development without fearing that they would fall behind to their competitors. And so again, they used a very, very powerful low-code BPM tool of Creatio to meet all of those development needs much faster, which enabled them to not only keep up with their competitors, but start outpacing their competitors. So they installed a unified sales, marketing, and customer service environment. They had automated case management, a very, very advanced queue management solution for their customer service side of things. They built advanced document management workflow. As you can imagine, with a purchase like a used car, a lot of documents. I'm sure everyone's bought a used car and sat there in the dealership for an hour and a half just filling out paperwork when all you want to do is just get in and drive home. So they tried to make that process as streamlined and as efficient as they could. And then customizing their dashboards and using our AI tools for some really, really powerful analytics, again, to make sure that they're digging into their business and getting a handle on their business operations. Our third use case, again, is very, very different from the first two. This is MARINA. So BPM, very, very flexible tool, a lot of use cases to be had, whether it's a law firm, whether it's a management consulting firm, whether it's a software company, whether it's a marina, as we see here. And again, very, very competitive landscape. It's one of the largest full-service marinas in British Columbia. If you've never had the chance to visit out there in British Columbia and take a sailboat, I'd recommend you do it. And if you do, go to Marina. They were searching for a process-driven tool that they could use to increase their intelligent process automation. They needed to build some custom-made solutions because they had some very, very specific, unique business needs that simply couldn't be replicated with third-party, off-the-shelf tools without heavy customization. But again, having a low-code platform, they were able to build from scratch these tools that they needed at a much, much faster clip with a much, much lower total cost of ownership than they would have if they had tried to assemble a handful of third-party solutions, none of which were able to cover the full scope of what they needed from a technological standpoint.
Great, thank you so much, Scott, for this overview of low code for professional services industries and for these great customer cases on Creatio. So let's move into our questions here from the audience. Our first one that I want to ask you is, how can you build an app and add value for stakeholders through low code technology?
That's a good question, and I think that was kind of the hopefully the sum total of the presentation that we had. I mean, really, how you build low-code applications is by utilizing citizen developers, and how you add value to stakeholders is going to depend on where you're looking to best utilize low-code. It can be through reduced cost. It can be through quicker time to market. It can be through finding a solution that provides a better customer experience. It can be all of the above. So there's various ways that low-code platforms can provide ROI, provide value. The majority of which are going to be, I think, those 5 pillars we talked about: operational efficiency, customer engagement, quicker digital transformation, and all of the above.
Awesome, thank you, Scott. Our next question is, can you provide some advice on how legal firms can become sustainable during these changing times, and what they should do to achieve business excellence with the help of cloud-based software?
Sure, and I think that from what we've seen in our use cases, that law firms are very, very ripe for digital transformation and very, very good use cases for business process management and low code, whether that's a law firm who operates as a law firm, or we've also seen a lot of use cases for legal departments within larger organizations. Historically, you know, whenever you're dealing with the legal aspect of things, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of approvals, there's a lot of vetting, there's a lot of information being passed back and forth, and it's mission critical that that information is all, you know, accurate and delivered in a timely manner and delivered in an accurate manner. So being able to automate document management workflows would be one way that a law firm could or a legal department could accelerate their digital transformation. We also know that law firms, what we've seen, law firms and financial institutions both have historically been fairly conservative when it comes to embracing new technology. So I think that as law firms start to look at their operations, whether that's discovery operations, whether that's contract negotiation, again, document management workflows are going to be huge. I think there's going to be various facets in any type, whatever type of law you're doing, to cut down on the amount of manual processes you are achieving, increase collaboration internally with the use of these tools, and again, kind of bring your firm or bring your department into a more digitized environment utilizing a low-code tool.
Excellent, thank you, Scott. Our next question is, does a citizen developer need any basic tech skills? And I know you did talk about this a bit in the overview, but just to reiterate here.
Yeah, they need to know how to turn on a computer and utilize a keyboard, and then some basic training in the low-code platform, and that's really it. You know, people who we see a lot of pushback from, again, some of those more conservative verticals. Manufacturing is one of them, where folks don't want to have to learn a new platform. They don't have to learn a new technology, but in the end, that's actually the type of customer who's perfect for a low-code platform, because otherwise you'd be asked to maybe utilize 3 or 4 separate systems to accomplish the same goals. You would need to hire coders or hire a vendor or hire a consultant to customize that software solution. But again, it is simple, drag and drop. We've got some videos online that show how easy it is to configure UI UX. So it is perfect for the company or for the individual that is not looking to necessarily have to dig into a lot of training or technology, or either has or isn't looking to undertake a big technological kind of upskilling of their workforce or of themselves individually.
Great, thanks, Scott. What metrics and analytics do you provide to measure the efficiency of employees?
So we have everything from, you know, what time they've spent on the system, when they've clocked in, when they've clocked out, metrics from call center, call duration, amount of calls, metrics from a sales standpoint, how many activities have they accomplished, how many opportunities have they moved in stages, from what stage to what stage, from a marketing standpoint, who's clicked on what, how many campaigns have we generated. And again, those are all out of the box. but every company is going to want something different. So the ability with, again, using a low-code platform with no need to write a SQL query, write crystal reports, know anything about either of those two languages, to slice and dice data however they need. So we provide some out of the box. I mentioned a couple of use cases, but again, it's very, very simple to get very, very granular and build out the dashboard that you need utilizing a low-code tool like Creatio.
Excellent. Scott, our next question is, which business processes would you recommend to automate in consulting companies with low-code technology?
So that is a very good question, because it's going to depend on what the consulting company is, what the consulting company does, who their customers are. We know that there are a lot of companies, that we're working with currently that are utilizing low code for things like, well, it depends if you're doing audits. There's obviously a lot of manual workflows that could be automated in the audit process. Compliance is another one. We've seen some use cases. Project management is a big one. There's a lot of different facets you can use from a project management standpoint. Management consulting companies often don't have fully blown CRM systems, and so find that maybe there's some Salesforce and some marketing automation that could be done to either expand within their current clientele or to market their services to new clientele. Again, having that background, there's a myriad of ways that, expenses is one that I remember being a huge headache for me, and I thought we could have done a lot better job of tracking our expenses, tracking our travel time, things of that nature. And it doesn't seem like a huge undertaking, but when you're talking about having hundreds of different consultants in hundreds of different locations, with all on the customer dime on their expenses and trying to keep track of all of those things, there could be a lot of automation done just in terms of kind of keeping track of workforce in that area as well. But again, low code, the possibilities really are pretty limitless as far as what you could automate. It's just a matter of what's mission critical to get started, and then kind of getting more sophisticated internally from there and starting to apply low code to more sophisticated processes.
Great, thank you, Scott. How much time does it take to implement and set up the Creatio low-code solution?
If we're talking specifically Studio, specifically the low-code solution, and that's it, I would say 2 to 3 months. The majority of that being the basic training in order to get everyone kind of comfortable. But again, it's meant to be tech or not tech intensive. So we would say 2 to 3 months if you're doing the low-code platform as well as one of the CRM platforms, maybe more closer to 3 to 5 months. Because there's a little bit more involvement if we're doing marketing and sales, or marketing and service, or sales and service, or some combination thereof. But generally, if we're talking just low code, you guys are up and running in 2 to 3 months.
Excellent, thanks, Scott. Can we start with something small and expand the functionality as we grow?
You can, and not only can you, that is what I would recommend. So most of our companies, especially the enterprise companies, have done what we call kind of a pilot phase, where they take maybe 1 to 2 use cases, a work group of 10 to 20 individuals, build out those use cases, get comfortable, build kind of an internal groundswell of adoption in order to start applying it to more and more use cases, more and more business units, more and more work groups, instead of trying to kind of force adoption on everyone at one time. I would recommend it, because then you have kind of a small group of employees who are enabled, and it can kind of become advocates and evangelists for it internally in the company. And again, as other business units start to see the benefits of using a low-code tool, it's very, very easy for them to adopt it as well, organically that way. So yes, the short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. And it comes kind of with a recommendation from us as being a preferred strategy of implementation.
Excellent. Is there a free trial available? And I can actually answer this, Scott. Yes, there is a free trial for Studio Free available, and you can find details to this offering on our website. Our next question is, what kind of support do you provide for your products? Scott?
Sure. So we provide, if you're just talking strictly technical support, we have 3 tiers of support: a basic, a business, and a premium, depending on the level of support you need, depending on the level of size of the company. But we provide technical support. We also provide, through our partner program, the training that you guys need. And then we also provide the marketplace apps to help extend the functionality and help with a faster ramp up time, using templates and things like that to get people kind of going and putting products out into their environment quicker. And we also provide consulting services and advisory services as well, for more complicated engagements, for more complex engagements, for wider engagements, where they feel like, hey, you know, we understand the low-code tools, but we'd also like to lean on your guys' experience implementing this in other use cases similar to ours to kind of help get us up and running faster.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Scott. This has been such a great discussion. Thank you for answering the questions from the audience. And thank you to our participants who have joined the session today. You know, we want to just remind our participants that this event is actually part of a larger initiative. As most of you are already aware, this webinar is part of our initiative to bring our events digital in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we've drastically shifted our marketing strategy for 2020 to, you know, reflect the changes in the current environment and offer a digital event series in several different formats. It's our primary goal to continue to support and educate our external community with these events. And we're very proud to have taken, you know, this initiative very early on and plan to move onward and upward with this digital event strategy and continue serving our customers and potential customers in the most beneficial way possible right now. So our events are available on our YouTube channel mentioned here. If you visit our website, you can see a full comprehensive list of the digital events that we have upcoming in the month and the month following, actually. And if you are interested in receiving re-recordings of previous events, please don't hesitate to contact me or my colleagues, and we hope to be as helpful as possible there. So thank you so much, and we look forward to having you on future webinars, and we encourage you to please visit our YouTube channel.
Okie doke. Thank you, everybody. You have a good week.